Welcome, everybody, to Southeastern 16. I'm Jay Greason. He's Graham Doty. We are bouncing all across the NCAA Baseball Regionals that include SEC teams, which is not surprisingly after a record-setting year. 13 of the 16 first-round sites. Today we are tippy-toeing into Tallahassee, Florida. Graham, I don't know if I've told you this or not, but side note, the worst butt whipping I've ever received as an adult was in the Whataburger in Tallahassee, Florida.
You have shared that information about yourself. So, hey, it's not easy being humble, Jay.
Well, nobody's ever accused me of that. I'm just honest and I'm not afraid to share, good, bad, or indifferent. A Tallahassee Regional didn't come like a lot of these things, and I think we talked about it in one of the other ones earlier. There's a lot of just instant backlash that fan bases, especially in the modern realm of politics, social media, everybody's out to get us and the conspiracy's in and whatever else. Florida State was not happy not being a top 8 seed. Florida State gets a very frisky, even if nobody knows who it is, number 2 seed in Northeastern. And then they get one of the 5 or 6 hottest Power 5 conference teams in the last month in Mississippi State, who played themselves from being not only on the bubble, but being just within eyesight of the bubble after firing their manager. So if you're a Florida State fan, before we get in neck deep into Mississippi State, Graham, if you're a Florida State fan, do you think this is fair, unfair? You're indifferent? You're going to have to beat everybody to get there anyway? Or how do you view the Tallahassee region?
I think it's an interesting one just because I feel like we touched on this the other day. Northeastern is such a question mark and a wild card. And to me, I say interesting because is Northeastern legit or are they just overhyped? We're about to find out. So that's what makes this interesting. You got a team that not a lot of people have seen play this season. Northeastern hasn't played a single Power 4 opponent all season, and they're heading south. So how are they going to handle the environment, the humidity, all that stuff? So I think Florida State, maybe they could be a little upset, but I think that they should be able to handle this. To me, what they should be upset about, if anything, Mississippi State as a 3 seed. Now that is a tough draw.
It is a tough draw. And you and I have now done a handful of these, and we've probably got a handful more to get across all 13 regionals with an SEC team in the mix. And you and I have had kind of a familiar refrain as we're breaking these down about how often should or will 1 seeds use their 1. This is maybe the best example of Florida State needs to pull Jamie Arnold aside and say, look, dude, we want you to show up in khaki shorts and a collared shirt for Bethune-Cookman. Because you're getting the winner of Northeastern Mississippi State, and then we're rolling the dice.
That's definitely what I would do. I would definitely pitch either Wes Mendes, an Ole Miss transfer, by the way, or Joey Volini, and just ride with them in the first game. You got to think Florida State will be able to take care of business, really, no matter who's on the mound in the matchup against Bethune-Cookman, and then go with your stud. Everybody knows how good Jamie Arnold is. He's going to be a top 5 pick in whoever you play. If it's Northeastern or if it's Mississippi State, then you got your guy in the most pivotal matchup in your regional. So if there's one team that's a candidate to do that, to hold your ace, it's certainly Florida State.
I think there could be a few that do that, looking up and down and around the SEC. LSU's so deep that why would they even worry about it? Their threes got future big league stuff as much as their 1. I think Georgia could do it. I think FSU will do it. And wouldn't shock me, and we'll talk about this one later because it involves Kentucky. Wouldn't shock me if Clemson did it against South Carolina Upstate either.
Yeah, that's a good candidate too. Just a team right down the road, 4 seed. Yeah, so that wouldn't surprise me if Clemson did it. But again, like going back to this one in Tallahassee for Florida State, Florida State was one of my teams, like as the season was going on, like a non-SEC team that I really like. Florida State fell in that category just because I know how good Jamie Arnold is. And then they got the ACC Player of the Year as well in their junior shortstop, Alex. So I like one reason why I liked Florida State was because you got the Player of the Year position-wise and the Pitcher of the Year, and that's a good combination to have. And then you're going to host the regional. Now, if they win and make it out, which I think Florida State will, then they could potentially head out west to Oregon State, who they're matched up with. But to me, this is a Florida State team. They are, in my opinion, without a doubt, the most talented team, and like surefire. Like we know this, take it to the bank, as opposed to like Northeastern, who we got a lot of questions about. We know they steal a lot of bases, almost 200 in the regular season, which is second most in the country, only behind VMI, and then Mississippi State. You know, we kind of know what they are. They certainly got hot down the stretch. If you're a Mississippi State fan, like who closed stronger than Ace Reese down the stretch? 371 average, 21 home runs, 66 RBIs for the Houston transfer. I mean, he was incredible down the stretch from Mississippi State. And Mississippi State also has a guy in game one who I do think State will pitch Pico against Northeastern, and I'm taking Pico over anybody Northeastern has out there.
Completely agree on both counts. And to your point about Ace, Mississippi State's ace in the hole, when we were banding about all conference picks and whatever else, his name was right there in the conversation for Conference Player of the Year. I think if I remember this stat right, in SEC play only, he was 1 RBI behind Ike Irish, or he would have won the NSEC Triple Crown. Highest average, most homers, and most RBIs against SEC competition. And considering what this SEC is in its record-setting form with 13 NCAA tournament teams and the top 4 overall seeds, that's just yeah. I mean, it's hard because you're right. But you know what? And we talk about this some in a multitude of sports and at multiple levels. But there's no denying that Mississippi State got the emotional bounce of taking the controversy out of the dugout and redirecting it, because they've been a much better ball club since Lemonis got fired. And I'm not saying Lemonis was bad at his gig. What I'm saying is taking that distraction away has allowed them to focus on what is in front of them, and that's playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have that hanging above your head. Like, is this going to be the weekend, or after this game is something going to happen? So you got to give Mississippi State athletic director Zach Selman credit for that. So he made the move pretty early, 3-4 weeks ago now. And then after that, Mississippi State has taken off. Combination of making the move and then the schedule got way easier down the stretch for Mississippi State. Wins against Kentucky, Ole Miss, and then on the road at Missouri. So yeah, State to me is one of the most intriguing number 3 seeds of anybody, just because of how well they're playing and like their top guys can play for any team in the country.
Terrible matchup with FSU because of the potential seeing Jamie Arnold in game 2. But to your point, FSU had the pitcher of the year and the player of the year in the ACC. Hats off. Great job. ACC, it's not the SEC, but nobody's calling it the A-Sun either. No offense, A-Sun. Well, actually, I can't do the Alfred. Yes, offense intended, A-Sun. I'm sorry. You're not that good. But I mean, if you've got Ace Reese and Pico, I mean, Pico was right there in the conversation of dudes you'd most like to have as a starting pitcher in this SEC until maybe the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he didn't get a whole lot of help in the first 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, he really didn't. Not the case down the stretch with the way the offense has looked for Mississippi State. I mean, they put up football scores in their finale against Missouri. I mean, like they put up 12 runs in like the ninth inning of one of those games against Mizzou. So again, like to me, this is intriguing because you got Florida State. Maybe they're peeved about being a 9 seed. Maybe they thought they should be a little bit higher. And then you get Northeastern as a 2. What do they look like? I think everybody's kind of holding their breath to wait and see. And then you got Mississippi State, a really, really, really good 3 seed in any regional.
We've talked on a few of these, and I think it's apropos, especially when there's a whole lot of unknown. Knowing the program as well as you do, Graham, who is a Mississippi State pitcher not named Pico Kohn that if they're going to have a chance to get out of this weekend and really write a unbelievable chapter in this final, in the novel that is the 2025 Mississippi State baseball dissertation, who is a pitcher that's probably going to need to be, we're talking about come Monday?
I think the 2 candidates are going to be Evan Siary and then Carson Ligon. Siary, he's the one that was just incredible against Ole Miss. Like 14, 15 strikeouts, whatever it was. So he has that potential. Both of these guys have several start. Carson, 14 starts this season. Siary has 9. Majority of Siary's was in SEC play down the stretch. His numbers are good. 63 strikeouts to 15 walks for Siary. And then Carson, 66 Ks to 24 walks. So control is certainly on point. Opponents only hitting 254 against Carson and 228 against Siary. So if you're looking at somebody not named Pico, those will be your 2 candidates. And Siary is lately he's been the number 2 guy behind Pico from Mississippi State, and he has certainly flashed. I mean, again, that outing against Ole Miss in Starkville was impressive, almost the program record for strikeouts in a game, or he might have tied it. I can't remember. It was a lot, one way or the other. But those will be my 2 candidates there.
Which leads me to boy, oh boy, I want to talk myself into picking Mississippi State, but I can't because of the Jamie Arnold factor in game 2. And that's going to then create a hill much too tall to climb, in my opinion. Sorry, Sven. Appreciate your loyalty from the European theater, but I'm taking FSU here. It wouldn't surprise me that it's FSU and MSU in the winners bracket final, but I just don't know if Mississippi State's got enough arms to come all the way back and beat Tallahassee to prevail in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just because of what you said, State, they're more than likely now. We're just speculating. Again, we're recording this on a Tuesday. We think State is going to face Jamie Arnold. I think we both have State beating Northeastern. And then State, more than likely, you're going to have to face the ACC Pitcher of the Year and top 5 pick, Jamie Arnold. So you're going to run into that buzzsaw. And then Florida State can hit. They're second in the ACC in team batting average, 313. They're above the middle of the pack in several offensive categories. Florida State has been through these battles with Link Jarrett in the past. Like, they went to Omaha last year. So this is a team that has got that taste in their mouth and kind of know what it takes to expect to handle situations like this. So I can see State making it to the regional final, kind of similar to what they did last year at Virginia. But I just think at the end of the day, Florida State is going to be too much for every team in this regional, and Florida State will go back to the Supers again under Link Jarrett.
He and I are on the same boat. Sorry, State fans. But as always, if you're looking for daily and we hope entertaining content across college sports best league. You can find it right here on Southeastern 16. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We've got the audio version too. Patronize our sponsors, and feel free to subscribe, join. We've got some members only stuff coming. No, not the jackets. It's actually some behind the wall content. But for Graham Doty, and when our regular homeroom teacher, Chris Lee, returns, and I'll go back to a substitute role, I got an unbelievably great substitute teacher story from high school, but I'm not certain it's fit for print. I got to get it signed off on from the powers that be.
Can't wait. Can't wait to hear it.
So thank you. Keep an eye out for all of the previews across all of the baseball regionals. And for Graham, I'm Jay. Have a great day.